Well, good evening. So, wife's about to head to work, so I'm going to get started on a couple little projects that I've been putting off just because of other priorities. So, what I got to do that I'm going to start tonight is I got to get a bunch of hides tanned. And I use that word loosely, tan, more like cured than a full-fledged like chemical tan. So, I'll show you that. And so we got a coyote and a couple foxes we're gonna do, and just for wall hangers. And then I think I got some rabbit and squirrel I'm gonna throw in there as well. So let's go up there and start getting chems ready. So the recipe I follow is the recipe. It's found on Field and Stream. It's simple, 2 ingredients: alum and like a pickling salt or some kind of salt. And if you just Google Field and Stream how to tan a deer hide, that recipe comes up. And so that's all we're gonna do. So we're gonna double the recipe because I got a few hides I'm doing all at the same time. So recipe calls for about 2.5 pounds of salt, pickling salt. This is 5 pounds. Just scale it up here. It's gonna go down into here, and we're gonna mix it with 8 gallons of water. Now I'm probably gonna have to do it in 2 batches because that's only a 5-gallon bucket, but we'll mix that and then throw it in a massive garbage can. I like to mix it with hot water, warm water. I just find it mixes that much easier and the salt dissolves better. So I did my 2.5 pounds for 4 gallons of water, of salt, and I'm gonna do my 1 pound of alum to the last gallon of water and mix that all in, but I'm doubling it up, so this is 2 pounds of alum for now. Salt's easy to come by. Salt you can find any grocery store or anything, especially around pickling season. Alum is a little more difficult. I find if you go to the grocery stores, a lot of times they only have it in like little tiny containers because people use it for pickling. They just need a half a tablespoon or a quarter tablespoon, teaspoon. Anyways, the bulk food stores will have it in bins for about $20 a pound, and it works out. So that is all mixed in there together. That's my 10 gallons of pickling solution. So I'm gonna go get the hides and we'll add them to that, and that'll be the end of this project for the next few days anyway. So these are what we will do today. I got 3 foxes, this coyote. These have all been dried, and so just dried and hung, so they're still green. And we'll just add them to the slurry, soften them up, and give them some shakes. So I'm just going to add one at a time, wear some gloves. It's just a heavy salt solution. It's not going to kill you, but I don't need to burn my hands by any means. Okay, so first thing I do with a dry hide is I make sure I soak the outside and get the fur all saturated. And then I'm going to turn it inside out and let it cure inside out. So after you got them all saturated, go ahead and turn them inside out, and then make sure you soak them again. Make sure you pull the ears out, like the ears were left on this one, the cartilage. So pull the ears out, get the paws out. I haven't had any problem even having paws, nose, ears. Not, well, I have had some problems, but I'll explain that later. And just make sure they're all mixed in there real nice. And the other thing we're going to add to this bin is got a whole whack of snowshoe hair pelts that we'll throw in. These haven't been fleshed out or anything. They've just been skinned off and frozen solid. I find it's easier to peel the flesh off, if even necessary, afterwards, after they're cured up. So I'm just going to throw them in and let the heat and warmth of the water thaw them out. And those are some hair feet for fly tying. There's a few dozen of those. And then just some more, and even black and red squirrel, just to add to the rodent collection. And that's that. Once it's all mixed in, you're going to give it a stir with a stick. Here's one of my children's swords. Give them a stir. Put some gloves on and actually give it a good massage down and make sure none of the skin on anything is folded over and sealing itself. And wait about 3 days or so. Seal it up. So after a couple days in that bucket, you're going to, a few days, 3, 4, depending on your temperature. Once that hide starts turning pretty white and rubbery, you'll know you're pretty close anyway. Pull it out, board it, dry it into the shape you want it, inside out, like you would for any hide that you're about to send in for processing. Turn it inside out and allow it to dry again, and there you go. Now, how have they held up with just that? Not even really adding any oils to them or anything. They've held up pretty good. So like this wolf here, see how it's fairly white inside? That wolf there was about 5 years ago. It even has the ears and everything on it. It's been good. These guys a couple years. Here's a buckskin I did a couple years ago. It's fairly good. I've never even put any time into softening it really. It's held up really well. This is just staining from being hung over a bar that was rusting. There's another hide here. This one I take with me all the time in the wintertime, and it's done really well. Take it camping to help keep you warm, or use it outside in the snow for the kids to sit on, and it's been perfect. That bear was done like that. I got some of the smaller things done like that. There's some coons and lynx and everything's, and the rabbit hides. And everything's held up pretty well. So they've been in there for a few days. We're pulling them out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just rinse them out. I got them in this laundry sink right now. We're gonna give them a good rinse, get all the salt and alum out of it, and then use just a little bit of like a Dawn dish soap just to make sure we fluff things out and pull any oils out, especially if you were tanning it with, say, something that was a little on the oilier side. And then we stretch them out. So this is just me rinsing it out with some nice warm water, a little bit of like dish soap in there. And once I'm satisfied that everything's cleaned out, we'll go hang it. So we're going to take the hide. It's all been washed up and clean. It's ready to go. We're going to turn it inside out, board it, just like this one. Pin it up. Add a bunch of borax to it. Recipe called for using ammonia and like a mink oil and bringing it in. But I use these as wall hangers, so having them stiff is fine. If you wanted to add a little oil to it and break it in, then that's what I've done before, and it works out great. So we will dry them out like that for just a day or so until the outside is dry to the touch for the most part, and then turn them inside out, put them back on the boards, and allow them to fully cure and seal up. And then that's it. You hang them on the wall and they're all good to go. Cleaned up, ready to go. Nice and beauties. And you can show all your friends how crazy they think you are. Anyways, so that's that. Once it's all dry, put them on the wall, and I haven't really had any issues with them whatsoever. So I hope that helps you out a little bit. I'll leave a link to the actual recipe that I follow for the most part in the comments, and it's just through the Field and Stream how to tan a deer hide, and it's worked out great for me. Anyways, till next time, see ya.